In partnership with Redpoint Ventures, we are at Nasdaq's MarketSite celebrating the Redpoint InfraRed 100 list. My name is Christina Ayanian, and joining me today is CEO of Docker, Scott Johnston. Scott, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Looking forward to the conversation.
Now, Docker has really revolutionized the use of containers in software. To start us off, can you talk a little bit about what containers are for those who may not know?
Yes, fair enough. So Docker is a suite of tools, services, and content that enable application development teams to rapidly build, share, and run secure apps. That's what we do. And we do it through a technology called containers, or software containers. And so what is a container? The analogy we like to use is the physical shipping container, which I'm sure you've seen these in ports and railway stations around the globe. And it's very analogous because before this standard came of age in the 60s, it used to cost $5.86 a ton to manually load and offload a ship or a truck or a train or a crane, because nothing was standardized. So you'd have a car next to bananas, next to rakes, and it was just crazy, right? As soon as this standard was introduced in the 60s, it lowered the cost of shipping from $5.86 a ton to 16 cents a ton. So 33 times improvement in the cost of shipping goods around the world. And what that did is, of course, it exploded exponentially global commerce and smoothed the way for shipping, and we all enjoy the benefits of that. So very similarly, like Docker provides that ease of use. So an application is very complex, has all these parts, but by putting all those parts and dependencies inside a software container, a Docker container, it enables it to be much more easily shipped from development to operations, to production. And as a result, we're able to ship at lower cost, we're able to ship more frequently and more rapidly, and we're able to ship more securely. And so that's the big idea behind Docker containers.
And by shipping, you mean code?
Delivering an application.
Right.
Yeah, from the developer's code on their laptop into a running application in production.
And so you're able to eliminate the problems when coders are collaborating on code.
When they're collaborating, when they're dependent on all these different libraries and modules that are open source or commercial, we simplify all that complexity by packaging it into a shipping container, a Docker shipping container, and sending it off to production.
And the company announced a restructuring back in 2019. What are you doing differently from then, and what are you doing differently now?
Yeah, it was very different then versus now. And what we did at the time is we went from a focus on operations, running the containers in production, to focusing on developers. So going as far left, if you envision the software development lifecycle, as far left as possible at the actual point of creation of the application. And by doing so, we were able to give developers really powerful tools to take advantage of the property of containers, to take advantage of all the things we talked about. And so as a result, we've grown our monthly active developer to 20 million monthly actives at the top of the funnel. We now have 15 million applications that we distribute through our property Docker Hub. Those are downloaded 16 billion times a minute. And in using our tools, developers are able to ship their applications to production in containers 13 times faster than they would otherwise. So it's been a dramatic impact on the industry that we're obviously very proud of and very humbled by.
So focusing the company on developers is working, safe to say.
That's safe to say, safe to say.
Now what's next for Docker?
So obviously our industry is so exciting because it's changing so quickly. And so first and foremost, Docker is not only a container company, it's how we got started, but now there are many more ways to assemble an application. Containers are one. Cloud services are another, something called serverless functions are a third, and so on and so forth. And so Docker has, in the last 3 years, spread its footprint to enable other application types to be used by the developer in building these fantastic applications. So that's one. Second is the world, of course, is being disrupted by AI/ML, and Docker is a big part of that disruption in that we are the tool set that developers use when they want to bring AI into their application. That's one. And second is because of Docker's 20 million monthly active developers and all the content that they're using, we collect over 23,000 events every second anonymously to be able to inform our own AI to bring productivity benefits and security benefits to developers.
Wow.
And so those are two big ones that are coming. I'll say a third is that open source continues to be such a wellspring for developers. It's a source of innovation, it's a source of speed, and yet cyber criminals know that. And so cyber criminals are starting to attack the open source supply chain. You see this in the news all the time. We are fortunate that because we're right there at the act of creation, that we can help developers understand how safe it is, the different components they're using, and then provide them tools to remediate and solve those problems right then and there. And so it's making the world a safer place by starting at the act of creation of the application.
There are so many use cases, and it seems like as technology is evolving, you're evolving with your clients.
Your lips to God's ears, that's our intent. Again, the industry is exciting because it moves so quickly, and you got to stay ahead to keep up.
Absolutely. How do you stay ahead?
Read. Love coming to events like this to learn from others, and always good to kind of sit with smart people over a drink and hear best practices.
Well, no doubt you'll get to the top. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to following your story.
Thanks so much, Christina.
Thank you.